Welcome to the State of Wyoming Subject Matter Minute, where we cover a wide variety of subjects related to State of Wyoming employment. This information is for you and me, the state employee. From hidden benefits to systems and processes, we'll make your job easier by giving you the lowdown, the how-to, and hopefully entertain you a bit along the way. And now, today's Subject Matter Minute. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Subject Matter Minute. If you're new here, my name's Matt Nagy and I work for A&I and more specifically HRD or Human Resources Division, and I'm a trainer. Thanks for joining us, and if you like what you see and hear, please pass the word to your coworkers. All right, so before we get started, like usual, I want to thank our subject matter expert from last month, who is Employees Group Insurance or EGI. And we're going to be hitting them up a lot. They are going to be my subject matter expert a lot because they deal with our benefits, a ton of our benefits. You know, there's some other stuff, but they are the go-to for a lot of them. So thanks again, EGI, your whole crew down there. Appreciate what you've been doing and appreciate your hard work. All right, so I want to go into my background a little bit again. First of all, I am a child of the 80s. All right, so I went to high school in the 80s, graduated in 88. So you know what that means. Yes, I loved hair bands, big time. Okay. I still do to a certain extent, but you know, I was in Casper a lot because Casper was the cultural hub of the hairband era. They somehow brought in all the bands that mattered. We're talking Slaughter, Cinderella, Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi. They brought them in. So I was in Casper and I probably rubbed shoulders with a bunch of you folks out there, right? You know, it's true. We all loved them. Now at the time, a lot of people, you know, had really long hair. I was too lazy to grow out long hair. So instead I did what a lot of lazy people did at that time. And I went with the mullet. Yeah, pretty hot, huh? And if you ask my wife or a lot of my friends, they would attest to the fact that I kept the mullet way past its period of usefulness, way past when I should have. However, I really liked it. I enjoyed having some hair, and now since I don't anymore, you know, I shave it all off. Eventually, I'll probably be blading it all off because this is getting really thin. It's that natural progression. But shout out to the Casper folks and the Casper Event Center for getting me in trouble in my youth, allowing me to sneak off to concerts. It was a lot of fun. All right, we got to get to the subject at hand. This month, we're going to be covering short-term disability and long-term disability insurance. Okay, let's talk about short-term disability and long-term disability insurance. First, like usual, I need to thank this month's subject matter expert, which again is EGI, Employees Group Insurance. This is another one of the items in their boathouse. So especially Pam. Pam helped me out, got all this information to me, and I really appreciate it. Thanks, Pam. Okay, so basically short-term disability and long-term disability insurance will cover your income in the case of you getting disabled in one way or another. I think I better clarify and say that actually they cover a portion of your income, but I'll get into that later. All right, so you know, if something happens, you're unable to work, what would you do without a paycheck? All right, so that's what this is for. First, let's go over how it works. Let's talk about short-term disability. Short-term disability will cover your income up to 66 2/3%. Don't ask me why it's that strange number, per week or basically per month. And it starts at 14 days after you become disabled, okay? Now, it's short-term in that, you know, it covers the short term. It starts at 14 days and goes through 180 days, which is 6 months. All right, so that's how long short-term disability works. Now, there is a cap. I believe it's $1,500 a week or $6,000 a month. So this doesn't really come into play for most of us because if you're making $6,000 a month at 66 2/3%, you're making good coin. Congratulations. But most of us don't need to worry about the cap. All right, so then long-term disability is just what it says. It's for the longer term. Generally, if you have both short-term and long-term starts when short-term ends. Okay, so short-term ends at 6 months. at 180 days, and that's when long-term disability starts. Now, if you don't have short-term, then long-term starts at 6 months. Now, it can go up to 3.5 years. Hold up. I got this very wrong. When I recorded this, I was under the impression that it maxed out at 3.5 years, but that's not true at all. Let's say you get disabled at age 50. You will actually get paid benefits through age 65, assuming you're still disabled. The 3.5 year thing only comes into play when you get disabled at around age 62. But that depends on your age. Now, if that comes into play, go ahead and look down in the notes below the show, and you'll see how it breaks down. Okay, so basically, as you get older, the long-term disability lasts a shorter amount of time. Okay, now there's some differences. Long-term disability is at 60% of your income. Okay, so you're making a little bit less. The premiums are less as well, but you're only getting 60% of your income. The cap on long-term disability is $6,500 a month, so a little bit more. But again, if you're reaching that, good for you. Most of us are not. Okay, so as a quick recap, short-term disability pays from 14 days after the disability to 6 months. Okay, and it gives you 66 2/3 of your income. Long-term disability starts at 6 months and goes to potentially 3.5 years at 60% of your income. Okay, I need to back up a little bit. If you sign up as a new employee within 31 days of eligibility, you're good to go. Okay, but if you don't, and if you're like me and you decide to sign up later, because I didn't sign up early on, first of all, there's a couple differences. In your short-term disability, if you get disabled in the first 12 months, then you're going to have a 60-day waiting period in that first year, just for signing up after the 31 days of eligibility when you're a new employee. That's just the rules. I'm not entirely sure why. It covers their butt, I guess, a little bit in case you know something's coming up. I don't know. And then the difference with the long-term disability is substantial in that if you don't sign up as a new employee in that 31 days, you sign up later, you have to go through the whole process and you might get turned down. You have to go through the company that actually gives us this, and you might get turned down. So it pays, if you think you're going to need these sorts of things, to do it when you're a new employee within the first 31 days. Okay, so a couple more things. First of all, your premiums, which there is a calculator to calculate your premiums for both short-term and long-term. The link is down below. You can check that out. The premiums come out post-tax. So these aren't lowering your taxable income. They come out after tax. But when you get paid, if you're disabled, that is untaxed income. Okay, so they don't tax that. So there's a trade-off there, I guess. There's one more item that I forgot to mention early, is that with short-term disability, you have to use up all your sick leave first. So really, short-term disability is for somebody who has a low accrual of sick leave or uses it often enough that it's always going to be a low pile of hours, okay? Because you're going to have to use that sick leave first, and that shortens the amount of time that you can do short-term disability, okay? So if you are unable to keep a nice balance of sick leave, then short-term disability is a good idea. If you have a ton of sick leave, which a lot of long-time employees do, long-term disability might be a better idea. Okay, so once again, there's links down below to figure out what your premium would be for both short-term and long-term. And it's not very expensive, especially long-term. I think I figured out mine, it was $6 or $7 a month or something like that. And of course, it's based on your income and your age. All right, I think this episode's a little bit shorter than they've been in the past. I hope I got all the information that you needed. If not, look down on the notes first, because we're going to post some more stuff down there. But you can also call EGI with questions, okay? Feel free to comment below. Feel free to email me. If you have questions, make sure you get them answered. All right, I think that's good for this month. I'll see all you 80s children and the rest of you next time. Please come back and see the next episode. And thanks for watching the Subject Matter Minute. You have been watching the Subject Matter Minute with Matt Nagy. Please help us out by subscribing. And join us next month when we'll cover another topic of interest for all State of Wyoming employees. Again, thank you for joining us on the Subject Matter Minute. Hey friends, thanks for watching that episode. I wanted to give you another opportunity to subscribe to my channel and a link to the playlist of all the episodes so you can get caught up, okay? So click here to subscribe, click here to go to the playlist, and I'll see you next time on the next episode. Really, go ahead, click on something.